time I was here, can you hear me? Last time I was here, I brought some things from the America Journey Experience, which is our vault of history. And if you remember, if you were here last year, I ended with this video right here.
To trade all the days from this day to that for one chance, just one chance, to come back here and tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
Last year when I was here, I told you there's a million ways this country can fall apart. And there is only one way it stays together, and that is a miracle from the Almighty God. If we all do our part and stand where we're supposed to stand, and God will help us push it over the edge and do the things we cannot do, we'll win. God showed up, and so did you. It was a miracle when Donald Trump went down on the ground. I saw it within a minute of it being live, and I was with my family, and he went down and had no idea what was going on. And I thought immediately, if he's dead, we're in civil war. For him to turn his head and only be nicked, if that's not God saying, you know what? I think there is a new generation that's standing up and will fix this country the way it's supposed to be, to serve people. Now we are waiting. Now we are here, and he is waiting for us to do the rest of the work. We have a lot of work in front of us. But man, take a minute. Doesn't it feel good to win? If we would have won in 2020, this is the way God works. It's so amazing. I thought for sure we're done. We're done. There's a million ways to fall apart. One that will hold us together. We're done. If we would have won in 2020, if Donald Trump would have been our president, he wouldn't have had the same mindset he has today. He wouldn't have done all of the homework that he's done in the last 4 years. He wouldn't have done all the vetting to get as many weasels out. He wouldn't have had the long list, and believe me, he's checked it twice, of all the people that need to go. We have a chance to reset this nation pre-Woodrow Wilson with Donald J. Trump. I want you to know you have defeated the evil empire. And it was just as hard as this. This is from the movie, the original Darth Vader, A New Hope. This, defeating him in the movies, it is the same story, except I don't think Kamala has come out and said, I am your mother. But she could have. It was this hard to defeat the evil empire. And that is what we're looking at. When I was your age, many of your ages, I was lucky enough, 1984, first president I ever could vote for was Ronald Reagan. And Ronald Reagan saw the problem in the world that everybody had been messing with since World War II. And he was the first one, against all advice, against everyone, to say, I'm sorry, but that is an evil empire, and we will defeat it. Communism, he brought down the wall because he had the courage to speak the truth. You, Donald Trump, have spoken the truth. That was an evil empire they were building, and it will come down now. You know, when you look at the structure of everything that they were building, I honestly don't know, and a lot of my colleagues, people who do what I do, said the same thing before the election. If he doesn't win, if we don't win, we're done. I mean, personally, we're done. They will extinguish our voices. How they do that, I don't know. But they will silence anyone who stands up against it. But you know what happened? When I first went in and started the Blaze in 2010 or 11, everybody said, that's insane. Roger Ailes at Fox News actually said to me, come on, you're not really leaving to do that internet thing. That's a fad. I said, I don't think it is. I knew that the mainstream media would burn itself to the ground, and I didn't want to be anywhere near. And when we started broadcasting on Blaze TV, there was buffering. Nobody was watching because you'd see me go, and let me tell, and then the little wheel would spin for a while. Media Row out there is more powerful than ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, and MSNBC combined. It's a new world. It's a new world. And believe me, you have a better chance of seeing the next 2028 presidential debate on something like Blaze TV than you do seeing it on ABC. They're done. They are done. However, nobody gives up that much power willingly. They're not going home going, oh, gee, we lost. Gee, what are we going to do now? I don't know, Bill. You're not qualified to do anything in life. So what are they going to do? They are going to fight with everything that is in them. This is a time of peace. Right now, it seems like, whoa, dig this, we won, and there's no resistance. Believe me, when you come home after the new year and you start seeing the lead up to him being sworn in office, things are going to start happening because they are serious. It's the same thing that happened. There's all these books, these were published in England in the 1500s and 1600s. This is very, very rare. There's only a few of these. There's lots of these. These are the books that were encouraged by the king to say, yes, witches are real, and here's how you find them. This one, almost every copy was burned by the crown because this one said, no, that's not true. That's misinformation. These aren't witches. This is all about control of the individual. The king didn't want this one. He wanted everybody to read this. That's the same evil empire that we have been living under for a while now, saying, no, no, this is the truth. When the truth they have tried to destroy the truth every possible way they could, and they burn it, all of it, if they could. But the truth always wins. But they are going to continue to confuse and manipulate as much as possible. If I'm on the other side and I needed to defeat us, I know exactly how I would do it. I would confuse you and I would divide you. I would make sure that I could get in, you know, the Declaration of Independence, the original first draft, which I brought last year in Thomas Jefferson's hand, is missing one word in the title, and that word is unanimous. The unanimous Declaration of Independence from Congress. The original draft was not unanimous. John Hancock knew everybody's got to raise their hand. We have to vote on every line, because if there's just a little space between us, any space, the king will see that light and he'll weasel his way in and he'll break us all apart and he'll divide us and then he'll hang every one of us. So we have to look for the light that is between us. We have to know who the good guys are, who the bad guys are, who's actually on the team. And now that we have all of this popularity, suddenly Donald Trump is cool with everyone. We have to make sure those who wear masks are not coming in and claiming to be part of this team, and they have no intention of being on the team. I asked a bunch of small people, I guess, for a chalkboard, because this is as good as it got. Just think of me as a giant in this actual size. This is where we have been, and I just want to show this quickly to you. I'm going to do an episode on this later, but yesterday I was flying here, and this kind of came to mind. This has been a timeline, if you will, of anarchy and totalitarianism. And I've gone over it several times. The United States, when we were founded, we were trying to get away from total control, an anarchy through a king, a despot. What we wanted was freedom. We wanted to be ourselves. We wanted to explore our own journey. We didn't want to have to jump through hoops and unions and everything else. We didn't want somebody above us to say, I'm sorry, you're not born of the right parents. You can't do that. We wanted freedom, and we wanted total freedom, but total freedom, when there is no authority, it goes into anarchy. So total control and anarchy. When we first won, we did the Articles of Confederation. Most people don't know this. George Washington was technically not our first president. Our first president, I don't even remember his name, but he didn't last long because it was under the Articles of Confederation, and he wasn't a real president like we understand now. That was too weak, and the states were still fighting amongst themselves. We couldn't get trade done. We couldn't get anything done, and they knew it. And so at night, they got together again and said, we have to come up with something new. And that something ended up being our Constitution in 1789 and in 91, just for the stupid people that they knew would become politicians. They said, let's clarify a few things and put them under the Bill of Rights. I'm convinced everything after the first 10 amendments to the Bill of Rights, the first 10 are there in the Bill of Rights. Everything else, almost without exception, is, and I think it's the liberty lovers that had to say to the then Democrats, good Lord, guys, no. When we say all men are created equal, that does mean black people too. The next amendment, no, when we said that means black people too, that means they can also vote just like you. I mean, it is just an excoriation of stupid politicians after the top 10. But Jackson and Lincoln and Theodore Roosevelt and Woodrow Wilson, who destroyed us, thank you, I love anyone who hates Wilson as much as me. They kept moving us, slowly but surely moving us towards total control. And by the time we got to Joe Biden, we were right here. We were within arm's reach of total control. So, luckily, people woke up. But it was hard to defeat because we had against us the mainstream media, the Democrat progressives, the rhinos, Republican progressives, the unions, all the Soroses out there, the NGOs, the Marxists, the anarchists that are actually communists. I love those guys. How confusing is that? Then the corporations. We also had on the on the left, voting and pushing their control with the Democrats in a different understanding, people like Elon Musk and Tulsi and RFK. They were all on that other side. And then COVID began to wake them up. And they were like, oh, dear God, they actually don't believe those top 10 things in the Bill of Rights. I think I'm with the wrong crowd. And they slowly started to peel off from there. And now we have Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is trying to take us here. Donald Trump, if he can do the things that he is claiming he can do, and I believe he can, if we stay together and with him, He's going to undo everything Theodore Roosevelt, Woodrow Wilson, and FDR, and Johnson, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden did. He will reverse this, and we will be close to true freedom again, the freedom that only Americans truly understand. But here's our job. Our job is to make sure, because they all, I don't know if you've noticed this, a lot of people now are saying, I'm with Donald Trump. Are you really? There are those that were over there, like The View. Those ladies will go down with a ship in flames. Liz Cheney, yeah. Some unions, the Marxists, the communists that are also anarchists, some NGOs, they're with the old regime. They're with the dark empire. Some of them have come down here. For instance, Morning Joe, the mainstream media. Morning Joe is like, you know what? I know I called him Hitler 40 times a day for the last 16 years, but I think he's a really good guy. Right. But he's now on the bandwagon. They're now like, oh, we like Trump. I mean, we don't really love him, but we understand him. Wait, if he's Hitler, that doesn't work for me. So you were either lying then or you're lying now. My guess is you were lying both times. We also have the rhinos, the Mike Johnsons of the world. Guy who claims to have our values. I think he's a decent human being. He's a good Christian, but he is not on the train. That's obvious by what we saw on Tuesday and Wednesday. He's somebody who will stand in this line and say, I'm with, but not really. Better one is John Cornyn, the same thing. Mitch McConnell. The rhinos are in this as well. Some union workers, some unions are down here as well now with Trump, and some union workers. I think most of the union workers are kind of with us and really with Trump, but we have to be careful because all of the unions aren't the same. All of the people aren't the same. So if you've ever been over here, we have to be careful. We have to watch. Trust, as Reagan said, but verify. Then you have the NGOs. You also have Elon, Tulsi, and RFK here, who, I have to tell you, Elon Musk, if you had something broken in your business, and you could ask anyone on the planet, I think it would be Elon Musk. I think Elon Musk, if he understands and what he's done to X, which gave us the chance to speak free, what he's done with X shows me he understands the Bill of Rights. RFK 20 years ago actually called me a traitor to the United States, and I said to him, you know, that's the only thing that has a consequence in the Constitution. Treason is you should execute. And he said, uh-huh. I was like, oh, okay. So when he started to run, he asked if he could be on the show, and I sat down with him for an hour, and I started there. Do you remember? It's funny. We can laugh now, huh? When you called for my execution because I believed in the Bill of Rights, he said, I changed. And I said, yeah, a lot of people can say I changed. Tell me when you changed. He said, Glenn, I believed a lot of that stuff because I was so convinced that I was right and others were wrong. And I never really thought our government could ever really, truly get out of control. But when COVID hit, I saw the light. I never thought we would ever do that, and we did. I want nothing to do with that kind of control. And Tulsi is as honest as the day is long. I just love Tulsi Gabbard. Let me tell you now what we have to do to stay together. We just have to recognize what our values and principles are. And last year I asked if you would read the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, because the Declaration of Independence is our mission statement. That's what we're trying to build. And there's no more glorious mission statement than that one. Let me give you something this year that will make it easier for you. Does anybody recognize what this is? Why don't you all stand up for just a second? Just stand up, take your hat off for just a second. Say this with me. You ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right? Let me translate that for you. Let me translate that for you into something that shows you what you're actually saying, because we say that all the time and the words become almost meaningless. So let me show you. I, me, I pledge, solemnly promise, pledge allegiance, which is loyalty, to the flag, a symbol of our country, and to the republic. What is a republic? A state in which supreme power rests with the people, and the people have a right to vote. For which it stands, remains firm and steadfast, and to let's see, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, a people of a land, any land, a people collected in any land that are aware of their unity. You can't have a country unless you're aware of our unity and what brings us together. That's what we have forgotten. God, a creator, indivisible, incapable of being divided, incapable of being divided. Liberty and justice for all, free from despotic rule, with equal and just laws for not just me, but all. This is what we pledge. It's not about the flag. If you want to find out, is somebody truly on our side, you look for these things. You look for someone who is truly taking a solemn promise to stand with loyalty to a republic, a state which its supreme power rests with all of us, not just me, but you and you and you, all of us. We will remain firm and steadfast to defend these things. We believe in a creator. If you don't believe in a creator, I don't know how you can truly understand America, because we are different. We're different than the rest of the world. We were created by a God that gave us these rights, with this republic protects. So you have to have a creator, and understand that when you have all of these, because if we're in a land where everyone is aware of our unity, we're united on these rights, we are incapable of being divided. From despots, from totalitarianism, from all of the things that we stood up against, we will win and continue to move the ball forward if we look at who we're standing next to, who's now claiming, I've been with you the whole time now. I don't think so. Do they take these things seriously? Do they? That's why we were here. That's why this cup, made of wood, traveled on the Mayflower with our pilgrims. This is why they came. to serve God, and to best serve God, you serve your fellow man. Blessed be the peacemakers. That doesn't mean your life is going to be full of peace. Jesus didn't have a lot of peace in his time. They executed him. But he stood as a peacemaker. Peacemakers stand at a time when there is no peace and speak the truth so others may have peace, so their children and grandchildren can have peace. Because I want you to know that we live in an incredible country with incredible things just ahead of us. We have now, with this election, turned the page to an entirely new chapter. We're like halfway through the book. And instead of putting the end, we just said part 2. But you get to write what this nation does. That's an incredible opportunity and an incredible responsibility. But remember, all you have to do is believe, truly believe, not in magic, but in the Republic and the things which she stands for. You have to believe in the best of one another. You have to stand together to make sure evil does not creep in. But when you believe, you have the power. We have had the power the whole time, just like Dorothy did in The Wizard of Oz. It's not quite as easy as clicking your heels together, but almost. Now, one more thing. The shooting of the healthcare executive on the streets of New York. There are people that are saying this is a good thing. If we lived in a cartoon world, it might be. If we lived in the former Soviet Union, maybe, but we don't. What the people on the left that are supporting the killer are actually saying is, we need Batman. This is the fireproof mask from Batman Begins. We don't need Batman. Batman is vigilante justice, and it's okay if you live in Gotham. But we do not live in Gotham. Vigilante justice goes against everything we just said. We do it the right way. We stand for the right things, and we let the rule of law judge, not this. There was a movie where this was opened, and he put it back in his pocket, and then he traveled the world. And when he saw his father said, surely my son's not dumb enough to pack my journal all the way over here. And Indy went, Dad, this is the journal from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. This is the journal that his dad wrote down everything to help you find the cup of the carpenter. And there were several things that you had to know that he had written down in this book. Otherwise, you'd never make it. This book is our Constitution. This book is the Federalist Papers. This book is our Bill of Rights, our Declaration of Independence. Everything you need to know to be able to get to the cup of the carpenter, this is the one Indy picked. To get here, you have to know what has been written down. You don't need to make it up. You don't have to go ask all these experts on TV, because it's already right there in one little place. read it. And if you want to keep a free country, read it, read the Bible, and choose carefully. Thank you very much. Good night.